on the earth. And I have said one of the jobs of the first group of 144,000, which is actually mentioned in Revelation 14, while the second group is mentioned in Revelation 7. One of the jobs of the first group of 144,000 is casting the remnant, the residue left of these beasts in our space, our solar system, out and destroying them. Maybe we're the ones casting them all to the earth at these times and whatever. But I know that's part of the jobs we're going to be doing. The warriors, the gladiators. There's different parts of the 144,000, that group. Not all are frontline warriors. But I think that's a big job, a big part of what they'll be doing, other than being transporters on the earth. For the second group, the 12,000 sealed from each tribe, that 144,000, and the witnesses, and then just the Lord's people, getting them where He needs to be to protect His bride. The Church of Philadelphia during the hour of tribulation will be protected. And so I think that the Lord will be using this group, this elect, the first fruits, 144,000, to be doing a lot of these things for Him. Because remember, the Lord acts through His people. He does things through His people. And yes, He does have angels to where He could just send His angels and do all this. But, if you look in 14 and you look in 7 and you see these different groups and you just seek the Lord on it, He reveal these truths to you. And I've written articles on it. Yahweh's armies, two groups of 144,000. You can see those at my websites. So I want to go ahead and start talking about some of these other chapters in the book of Revelation. In chapter 6 and verse 17, it says that, for the great day of His wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? And you look at the word day, and day is like the term hour. It signifies a time period. It could actually be a 24-hour time period or exactly a 16-minute hour. But in all these instances, it's longer than that. It's a period of time. And we know that His period of time is, in this instance, 3.5 years, because His wrath will fall on the earth when Satan rises to power. And we know that Satan's been given 42 months to rule on earth. And I know a lot of people go, well, his days are shortened. I don't believe his days are shortened because the Lord gave them 42 months. But daylight hours will be shortened so that the intense heat from the sun, because our ozone layer is destroyed, doesn't destroy every person on the earth. I believe it's the daylight hours themselves that are shortened and not the days themselves. But after the sixth seal, you have a silence in space of about a half an hour. I do believe that's probably about close to just being a half an hour, 30 minutes or whatever, signifying a short time period where there is silence. And if you look at the Greek word that was used, translated from the Hebrew, it actually gives a couple of suggestions: a certain definite time or season fixed by natural law of the seasons of the year: spring, summer, autumn, winter. And this is from the term that they translated from half an hour. So nowhere do you see 30 minutes or how many seconds. Half an hour can be a season of the year. It can be a whole spring, a whole summer. It can be the daytime from the rising of the sun to the setting of the sun. It can be a 12th part of the day, a literal hour. Any definite time, point of time, moment. And so there's too many suggestions here. You're going from a literal 30 minutes to an entire season that this space of silence could be. And we don't know how long it is. But what happens during this space of time is, if you look at chapter 7, is when they go out and seal 12,000 from each of the 12 tribes of Israel. The angels go out on the earth and seal 144,000 Israelites. Also at this time, the two witnesses, who are first portrayed in Revelation chapter 11, are anointed to prophesy for 1,260 days. Now they are given the same amount of time to prophesy on earth that the Antichrist is given, Satan is given to rule on earth. And so some people always put the two witnesses in the second half of the tribulation period. But they can't be so, because after they're dead, Satan still has time on earth. They rejoice that they're dead and they have a little celebration, and 3.5 days later, the witnesses rise. And then Satan gets the armies of the world together for Armageddon. And so there's still some time left after the witnesses are arisen to the time that the Lord returns at the War of Armageddon. And so you would have to move the actual arrival of the two witnesses somewhere in the middle point of the tribulation period. They're here before Satan rises to power. I don't know how long. Maybe 30 days, a month, or 2 months, 3 months. However long it is, I don't think it's that long. But they're given 1,260 days to rule, to walk the earth, to preach. And so, obviously they're here before he rises to power, because the Satan has time after they're gone, and so they're not here totally at the same time. So they're also anointed at this time. Sometime at the midpoint or before Satan arrives on earth. And I'll tell you how I figured that out. It wasn't anything that was straight out forward and that said anything. But if you look at the woes that are given, there's 3 woe judgments given. And this is something that the Lord had showed me. Is that the first woe was first mentioned in Revelation chapter 9. The second woe was also mentioned in Revelation chapter 9. And then the third woe, the third time you see woe mentioned, is in Revelation chapter 11, because he says, warns them that Satan is coming down to earth quickly. And that's the last time you hear the word woe mentioned. And so these witnesses are here before Satan comes down to earth. And so I thought that was interesting, because it's kind of set a timeline. And you can read these at Revelation 9:12, Revelation 11:14, and Revelation 12:12. Those are the times I have set when Satan comes down to the earth, or for the 3 woe judgments. Revelation chapter 9 is another thing. Revelation chapter 9 verses 1 to 12 is when you have your first woe. Now remember, all 3 woes take place before Satan arrives to earth. He is the third woe. Satan's arrival is a third woe. So Revelation 9, folks, happens before Satan arrives on earth. And that's one thing I'd always put the trumpet judgments in the second half of the tribulation period. They happen before Satan arrives to earth. They happen before. And so that was interesting, because I'm looking at these trumpet judgments this week. To paraphrase some of these judgments, you have hail and fire mingled with blood, and that falls on the earth, and 1/3 of the trees are burned up, and all green grasses burn up. You also have a great mountain, an asteroid or a giant meteor that falls into the ocean. 1/3 part of the ocean becomes blood, 1/3 of sea creatures are killed, and 1/3 of ships are destroyed. And then for the third trumpet, a great star or a comet hits the earth, and 1/3 part of rivers and fountains of water become poisonous. And then you see 1/3 part at this time. And this is interesting too, something was pointing out to me. 1/3 part of the light is diminished in both the sun, moon, and stars.